never held out your hand to anyone. You've always got by on your own. Proud, hard-working people of Nepal. In the shadow of a holy mountain, you offer gifts up to the gods. Bright flags of many colors, Nepal. Even when the earth it shakes you, it doesn't shake your faith or your soul. It's embroidered by the stars. High above your ancient temples, Nepal. Even when the earth it shakes you, no, it doesn't shake your faith or your soul. And everything that falls again will stand tall for you. Thanks very much. Thank you for attending this evening. For such a great and worthy cause. George Mallory and Sandy Irvine spent the formative years in Birkenhead and set off a long time ago from this town into the clouds of mystery and history. This is our retelling of their story, and to help me tell it is my friend, so lovely Jane Hamlet. Thank you.
Nearing the end of a grueling lecture tour of the USA in 1923, George Mallory attends the final press conference and is asked the obligatory question, "Why climb Everest?" "Because it's there," he deadpans. Mount Everest has been there for 60 million years. At over 29,000 feet, it is the roof of the world, where it rules the skyline. Also there, on the 1924 expedition, was the Herculean engineer Andrew Sandy Irvine. Just 22 years old, physically invincible, but a complete novice. If the cold, treacherous mountain held any fear for Mallory, Irvine was oblivious. The finest climber in Britain, at 37, George Mallory had fought at the Somme. The experience had served him well. Surviving the war, he felt that life presented itself very much as a gift. But he was a man almost too much in love with life, torn between his two great passions, his wife, Ruth, and his quest for adventure.
I feel so mixed up when I think of him, not wanting safety for my own sake, 'cause I prefer adventure, and I want to share those risks with my friends. But it's so different when Ruth comes in. She'll be so lonely when I'm up there. Oh, my darling, what a thrill it is. I can't tell you how it possesses me, and what a prospect it is, the wonder and the beauty of it all, especially when it reminds me of you, my wildest dream.
When Andrew Irvine received the invitation to join Mallory's 1924 expedition, it couldn't have come at a more opportune time. He'd just received the news that his best friend Richard Summers had proposed to his sister Evelyn, and he reacted badly to news of their engagement. His own personal life was fast becoming a disaster, involving trysts with wealthy debutantes and accusations of breaches of promise. When, on the eve of their departure, Sandy confessed to George Mallory that he was leaving behind a bloody awful mess to go in search of adventure, Mallory reassured him. Adventure is what life means and what life is for. The next day, sailing from the port of Liverpool en route to the Himalayas, Irvine really felt that he had nothing to lose.
Goddess of the sky, you make your own angels fly to the clouds that surround your summit crown. Oh, the sun and the moon, they rise, they bow to you as they climb their way to heaven. Goddess of the sky, goddess of the sky, you make your own angels fly to the clouds that surround your summit crown. The sun and the moon, they shine, they bow to you as they climb their way to heaven. Goddess of the sky.
Mount Everest is a holy mountain, considered sacred by Tibet to the north and Nepal to the south. To both, she is known as the goddess of the sky. Across her face, the winds blow at 200 miles an hour. Temperatures can reach as high as 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the day and plummet to 60 below at night. In these conditions, climbers can suffer both sunstroke and frostbite in the same day. Near the summit, there is 66% less oxygen. This mountain will literally take your breath away. Cover with the sky, the stars embrace. Snow-tipped, sacred mother, Sagamatha. Man breaker, fate shaker, life, breath taker. Dream as shadows light across your face, and wake to deeds that leave immortal trace. Per ardua ad astra.
We set up camp that night inside of the summit, a handshake and a blessing, eager to challenge fate. Now that we're here on the face of Everest, where metal is put to the test, only angels would attend this in excelsior. Creatures without air were like fish out of water, clinging on to the sides of the earth's mother. Now that we're here on the face of Everest, where metal is put to the test, only angels would attempt this in excelsior. This is my dream, my quest. Nothing else is left. This is my dream, my quest. Nothing else is left. Now that we're here on the face of Everest, where metal is put to the test, only angels would attempt this in excelsior.
Sunset on Everest. The daylight fades quickly on their tiny camp as Mallory and Irvin's breath freezes. Despite the cramped conditions, Sandy has set up a makeshift workspace, just like he did in school. Only here, the ice and snow intrude into everything, whipping at his hands as he checks the apparatus. "Well, Sandy, is everything ready for tomorrow?" asks George Mallory, as much to reassure himself as anything it seems. "Ready as it'll ever be," Irvin replies. The conditions on Everest have weathered his face to, as he himself describes, perfect agony. The seeping open blisters and heavy beard make him appear much older than his years. He's suffering from flu and dysentery, for which he's taking laudanum, a powerful opiate that's causing him to hallucinate. Irvin drifts in and out of lucidity. Before his eyes, the snow turns red with blood. Scattered around are the butchered remains of a pack of dogs. They belong to Captain Scott. Two ghosts from the explorer's crew now appear, lost souls with starving faces. Burning up with delirium, Irvin takes more of the narcotic. The snow now melts and becomes the ocean. Rocks become icebergs. Everest's summit evokes the shape of the phantom black hull of the Titanic. Her huge propellers stark in the moonlight, and around him in the icy water echo the screams of the drowning. Scott himself now appears, with pitiful, haunted eyes. He points a frostbitten finger into Irvin's terrified face, and then at his two fallen crewmen. "Wilson, Bowers," whispers Scott. "Save them."
I'm the team's great experiment, but I'm also its greatest risk. Youth is my only impediment for a challenge like this. For it's colder than I've known, so hard to swallow the words of Apollo in the ice and snow. Oh, the blizzards kept us at camp for days. Mallory, he's living on his nerves. He's so desperate to reach the summit step, and for whatever awaits is there. It's colder than I've known, so hard to swallow the words of Apollo in the ice and snow. I thought I saw the ghost of Captain Scott. I heard the crying of the dogs. I saw the icebergs rip the Titanic's sides, lost. It was colder than I've known, so hard to swallow. The words were hollow in the ice and snow, the ice and snow.
Mallory shakes Irvin out of his stupor. He knows he's pushed his friend beyond his limits. His youth is against him, and things seem to hit him harder. Do you have a mind to continue? Mallory pleads. Let's have a whack at it tomorrow, hey, George? Sandy reassures him, as best as he can muster.
Take me with you when the first light comes, when the mountain glistens in the morning sun. I won't leave anything to chance. Everything is safe in my hands. But take me with you, please take me with you. Give me this chance. There's nothing higher I aspire to than to be on this mountain here with you. For you put your faith in me when nobody else could ever see. Take me with you, take me with you on your wildest dream, your wildest dream.
The next morning, in the grip of a fitful dream, Mallory cries out, "I shan't come back! I shan't come back!" Startled, Irvin wakes him. "Mallory, it's morning." "George, are you all right?" "Yes," Mallory whispers, his throat raw, worried with responsibility. "What time is it?" "It's time," replies Sandy. Under the blue sky, everything's looking good for the attempt. They set out in near perfect conditions. Underfoot is hard pack ice. They must cut steps into the rocks that are steepening around them. And it's time to tie the rope, which will act as a lifeline between them, and if it does not save them, will hang them. The day of the ascent had been meticulously planned by George Mallory. He chose Ascension Day, a holy day that symbolises Christ's rise into heaven. And it takes 40 days and 40 nights for the body to adjust to the altitude on Everest.
Let me catch my breath, let me keep my head, let me keep my heart with every step. May the world look up to where we stood. May there be no doubts in the history books. We made our way on Ascension Day, you and me, the hard way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Scott.
As they climb, the first mists are drifting across the north face as black clouds begin to rise from the glacier far below. The storm then blows across the west face with a ferocity that Mallory has never experienced before. Within seconds, thicker, dense waves of ice and snow close in. Huge monsoon clouds encircle the peak. Feeling the advancing gusts, Irvin staggers, snowblind, trying to keep up with Mallory, but forever pushed back by the force of the wind. Team member Noel Odell last caught sight of the pair just 300 metres from the top. As they disappeared into the clouds, they resembled tiny black insects on the back of a great white whale.
There's only one truth that I've ever known. That's when I hear the mountains call. I'm behind you, I'm at your side. Am I a fool or a hero? Time will decide, but I would climb for you, lay my whole life down. I'd die with you at the end of the line. The icy secrets not many men will know. You cling together in this brotherhood of snow. I climb this mountain because it's there, but now I see its beauty shining everywhere. I would climb for you, lay my whole life down. I'd even die with you at the end of the line.
The summit pyramid now looms over them, so close the decision to retreat is unthinkable. Irvin is desperately trying to follow Mallory's every step. Then, helplessly, Sandy is wrenched forward, collapses face down in the snow. The violent shift drags Irvin downwards 20 feet, with arms frantically flailing. He manages to gain a hold in the rocks and bring himself to a stop. Disorientated, he slowly comes to his senses, just as the rope again cuts deep into his flesh. A split second later, the tension on the line breaks, and he's left motionless, alone. Mallory has fallen. All his life he sought after whatsoever things are pure and high and eternal. At last, in the flower of his perfect manhood, he was lost to human sight between earth and heaven on the topmost peak of Everest.
I would climb for you, lay my whole life down. I'd die for you at the end of the line.
At home in England, Ruth Mallory is sleeping with her children at her side. Tomorrow, she will break the news to them, and they will cry together. And when the press come calling with their glassy-eyed benevolence, Ruth will allay any hint of hubris in the tragedy. It doesn't matter if George got to the top or not, she says. It was his life that I loved, and still love.
A disturbance closed in as the air was growing thin. The tightrope of snow finally broke. I can almost touch the summit with my hands, but it's all I can do now, just to stand. The jaws of the wind are closing tight as the sun melts into the night. I'm scared to take the next step.
Now alone, Irving is reeling from Mallory's fall. Frantically, he gathers up the bodiless end of the rope, confirming his worst fears. With no experience to draw on, Irving desperately tries to negotiate a way down the ledge. He becomes confused, floundering and stumbling in the darkness. Losing his footing, he falls hard, coming to grief on a sheer edge. Shivering, wet and exhausted, he tries to shuffle backwards but slips further into the mouth of a gully. His shivering has stopped, making him even colder as his limbs stiffen. His final thoughts are of his sister, Evelyn, covering him in a blanket. The mountain's crevasses appear to turn into the branches of a tall tree, and through its canopy he can see Evelyn's face smiling. Finally, in a deep sleepiness, his body surrenders and he is embraced by the frozen arms of death.
Evelyn, don't look down. If you're frightened, hold me tightly till we're on the ground. Evelyn, don't look down. When you're climbing, you can end up crying.
Where wonders, wars, misfortunes, and stirring deeds are seen, where peace and wild confusion have come and gone again. I could rhyme of Robin Hood or Ranulph, Earl of Chester, England's ancient blood, its shield and its protector. But greater strife the country bore, wide wasting land and kin, and lads had died in mud and gore that hid the kind old sun. Now nature generation shows, and young men take their place, and noble is as noble does when scions pick up the pace. Like Gawain and Bayard, noble knights of old, modesty their standard for quests and ventures bold. Called then the far dominions with bitter frosty skies, the devil's dark pavilions where demons hiss their lies. And though their mothers scheme and urge them not to go, they smile and explain the answer must be no. Before they reach that shore, what promises they made, and how high country's store was stocked with glory's tread. Now huntsmen take their places, and all the hounds run free, as blood's up honour paces swift to crag and shifting scree. Those lads, their eyes grown bright, would soar, surmount the way, climbing on with great delight as sets the end of day. Bold Mallory, unflinching, drew his pick and staked his claim. His mind's eye upward flew, the summit set to be his aim. Then Irving said, with cheerful face, why shrink back from the quest? Though fate bring glory or disgrace, a man must meet the test. Life can only little mean, with loss so much in mind. All faults they may redeem through fellowship in kind. Spin the prayer wheel letters, tell of ancient noble truths, their story flagged in pennants, the mountain people choose.
One cannot say if Sandy Irving fully understood the risks of the Everest expedition. He was the youngest by 15 years and the last member to be chosen, a choice part justified by his good humour, his keenness and ready cheerfulness. It is certain that the Irving family didn't fully appreciate what Sandy was getting into. They were completely broken by the tragedy, especially Evelyn. After his death, a garland that Sandy had picked for her during the climb was forwarded to her by his Sherpa. It consisted of blue alpine violets. His father, William, always maintained that his son had reached the summit before he died. Equally firmly, Evelyn was convinced he did not. If he had, she said, he would have come back to me.
Let me catch my breath, let me keep my head, let me keep my heart every step, and made the world look up to where we stood. May there be no doubt written in the history books. We made our way on Ascension Day. You and me, the hard way. What bloom survives under the ice? Whose breath is iron? Whose fingers knives? And love's terrain is much the same. The crystals form on every word we say. We made our way on Ascension Day. You and me, the hard way. Love, don't let me fall. Please, love, don't let me fall. Oh, my love, don't let me fall again. We made our way on Ascension Day. You and me, the hard way.
In 1960, a climber with a Chinese expedition on Everest said that he had discovered the body of an ancient English dead that he believed to be Irving's. It was found just below a ledge where an ice pick lay. It was impossible to tell if the pick had been placed or dropped, but it bore the triple nick mark unique to Irving. The party treated the remains with the utmost respect and did not disturb the fallen dreamer who lay frozen in his quest. But later, at camp, they inscribed a prayer for the man who had led them this far to their own dream. Everest finally offered up the body of George Mallory in 1999, and from the front pages of the world's newspapers, his long-dead bones glowed as if made of marble. His fingers were still clenched, grasping onto the snow defiantly, holding on to his destiny.
Let us leave him for his shroud of snow, his funeral lamps, the planet Seven. For a great sign the icy stairs shall go, between the stars to heaven. Let us leave him, let us leave him to his wildest dream. Only human as human can be. He saw no obstacles, only possibilities. But he could not make the final descent. In the end, let us leave him, let us leave him to his wildest dream, his wildest dream, his wildest dream.
In the May of each year, the prevailing jet stream in the Everest region moves north, allowing for calmer conditions. This brief season is known as the summit window. Over 250 souls have passed through this window and perished. Driven by their courage or misguided ambition, they climbed through the gates of fate and followed in the doomed, icy footsteps of those two valiant men of Cheshire who among the snows adventured their lives, even unto death. Almost all remain on the mountain.